Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Koki Otaku. Today with us, we have a very special guest. He voices Kenyuu Yukimiya in Blue Lock, which is coming out this Saturday. Luxion. Well, actually, by the time it airs, it already passed. All right, Luxion, in Trapped in the Dating Sim, the world of Otome games is tough for mobs. Workner Norgram in Wistoria 1 and Sword. Toma Fiora and Mato in Fairy Tail. Kumasa, if my favorite pop idol made it to the Budokan, I would die. Okay. Those are two long names. The Tough for Mobs and that one. I'm like, let me take a breather. Okay. Popuko and Pipiki. Oh my gosh, these names get harder and harder. I'm not gonna try that one again. Isanari Uesugi in Quintessential Quintuplets and Mr. Gunpla in Gundam Breaker 4. So without any further ado, please give it up for Jim!
Jim, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So let's start up with one of the, like I mentioned, the latest movies and season 2 about to come out now this weekend or last Saturday. Talking about Blue Lock with the character of Kenyuu Yukimiya. I think it's a franchise already that has hit the theaters and movies. So for those who haven't dare to dive into the world of Blue Lock, how would you describe this series?
Blue Lock is kind of like Squid Game / Battle Royale with soccer, only nobody dies. What it is it's a goal to find the best striker in the country of Japan, because Japan is very culturally, they're very what is good for everyone, let's be a team, and they need to find somebody who they call it an egoist, who basically thinks of themselves first before the team, but just enough to where they can get that edge over other teams. But it's like, think of yourself but also the team. And they're trying to find who the best striker is. And so it starts out with 300 soccer players. They're eventually eliminated. It's going to go down to 1. And the thing is, when you lose, when you're kicked out of Blue Lock, you can't play for Japan ever again in any professional capacity whatsoever, apparently. So that's why it's when you get kicked out, you're hosed. But it's at the end of season 1, you see some of the other teams kind of show up. The first season focuses around Uesugi and his group, and then at the end of season 2 there's a sneak preview for the characters that are going to be showing up. I'm saying the end of season 1, and I had one line. I had, "It's nice to meet you," as Kenyuu at the end of season 1, and so we were just waiting for season 2 to come out. We had episode Nagi, which all of us had like 1 or 2 lines at the end of the credits. But yeah, I recorded my part for episode 1, season 2, episode 1, just this week. And I think I was the last person recorded because everybody else was already in the track. I could hear them. So yeah, it's premiering on Saturday, and I'm excited to hear it. The whole thing put together.
You just remind me, we have the same with one of the characters from Rent a Girlfriend, one of the 4 girls. The last one, he was very shy. That character showed up just the last episode to say, "Hello, hi," and that's it. And they're like, whoa, we have this character posted from the beginning of the series to the end, and we only saw like microseconds. And it became later one of the main characters in the second half, and which the same happened with your character with Kenyuu. How you describe this character, Kenyuu, being their number 5 from the whole 300?
So Kenyuu is... Everybody in Blue Lock, everybody's super intense because they're all trying to... It's like you have to kind of assert yourself to be number 1, but you still have to work as a team. So there's... in the first season, there was some backstabbing. There was betraying of like different teams and stuff. Kenyuu comes in, and he's so low key. He's very polite. He's the most handsome character I've ever voiced. He's a model as well when he's not playing soccer. He has a pretty interesting story arc that will develop later after the U20 game. So Of course, I'm spoiling it. He doesn't, he doesn't get kicked out between U20 and the next story arc. But yeah, Kenyuu's got a story that I don't want to spoil, but he's super nice. He doesn't get into the drama of Blue Lock when people get into fights and stuff like that. He's like, I'm just gonna stay out of that. So there's a lot to look forward to, and I don't want to spoil anything for everybody. I'm excited to just dive super into the character.
Yeah, just watch season 2.
Oh, season 1's good. The
premiere.
Yeah, no, but it's okay. So I guess there's kind of an abbreviated way to watch the first season if you want to jump right into it in season 2. I thought, if I'm wrong, I think it said that the Blue Lock movie episode Nagi is going to be streaming. I haven't checked. I don't know if that's like a true thing or not, but episode Nagi is kind of like a condensation of the first season, seen from the point of view of another character other than the main character. So that's kind of like a good entry point into Blue Lock if you don't have the time to sit down to watch the entire first season and you just want to go into season 2. Watch episode Nagi, the movie.
Oh, no, matter of fact, I got the email 2 days ago that today, 17, today 17, it's the first day that will be available on Crunchyroll.
There we go. Okay, I was not mistaken. I'm glad. Okay.
Yeah, I remember, I got an email from Crunchyroll, and it's true. So I remember reading it. So episode Nagi is available already on Crunchyroll. And let me ask you, Jin, kind of personal question. How much a sports person are you? Like, do you practice a sport?
Sports. I don't watch sports regularly. However, my family were really into the Olympics. I will watch like all 14 days of the Olympics because it's just, I love it. And now that, with the advent of the internet, you can watch every individual sport if you want. I think because they're not pros. A lot of them are just like regular people that have just worked their entire lives to compete. It seems more relatable in the sense that they're not, they're not rolling in, super high sports contracts. These are just regular folks that, that are really good at archery or something like that. Everything they put into that sport, and I like the Olympics a lot.
I had to confess, I also spent those 16 days watching every night, and YouTube TV had like a function, I had like a 4 sport at the same time event.
Yeah,
I watched all at the same time. But going back where you're going, this series, Blue Lock, is one of those series that you don't need to be like a sport person that see football league every Sunday or NBA. You don't need to be a sport person or an athlete to enjoy the series.
No. It's interesting because, everybody has a general idea of how soccer is played. And it's interesting because while watching Blue Lock for the show, I've learned so much about soccer. A lot of my colleagues, there's a few that are super into soccer, and they'll talk about, oh yeah, this one part of the animation was just like this, and they'll name a player, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but that sounds really cool. But yeah, it's what I like about the show is that when you follow the games, it's like watching a game, and you hear a lot of what's going on from the main character's perspective of tactically how he sees the field. And it's, of course, in anime, I'm going to explain everything that I'm seeing right now, when in real life, an athlete, all of that happens in a split second, because that's why they're so good, because they can just calculate and figure out what they're doing on the field in an instant. But imagine Blue Lock kind of slows down that thought process for entertainment, and it's pretty cool. I was never really into sports anime that much until I started watching Blue Lock for it to be in the show, and I thought, yeah. So because of that, I actually watched some soccer over the Olympics, and I was able to follow it.
And again, anime sport has something that even you don't used to watch sport, you're going to end up loving the series just because, like you mentioned, Jim, the detail, the drama, and even your parents who doesn't watch anime, they can sit down next to you, and I promise you, you're going to enjoy it. The drama go way beyond. But talking about smart calculation, strategy, one of the characters that I really enjoy watching, one of those odd series that many people didn't see it coming under the radar. Talking about the important main character, Luxion, on Trapped in a Dating Sim. The world of Otome game is tough for mobs. Piece of gold. For those who haven't seen this series, how would you describe dating sim, Trapped in a Dating Sim?
Okay, Trapped in a Dating Sim is the isekai that basically, if you pardon my language, it takes the piss out of all other isekais. It's an isekai spoof almost. I'll sum it up. For reasons that it's explained in the light novel, but the main character, is bribed into playing a dating sim for his sister because she wants to go out with friends and she wants him to unlock all like the soundtrack and all the goodies. And so he spends like 40 hours through trying to unlock this game. The game, it's a dating sim that was made by a company that previously made like racing games and game stuff, so they weren't really good at making dating sims. So he unlocks everything and he's like, oh man, I haven't eaten for 2 days, I'm gonna go get something to eat, and he falls down the stairs and dies, and he wakes up in this other world, and he's basically the son of a farmer, and he doesn't really recall who he is until he's like a teenager, and he finds he's going to be forced into an arranged marriage, and he figures out, if I make myself rich and I go to like the finishing school for boys, I can get out of this arranged marriage. So he decides to sequence break the game, and he finds the game's most powerful microtransaction, which is Luxion, me. And all he wants to do is go and stay like on the farm. He doesn't want to be famous. He doesn't want to be popular. He doesn't want to be the hero of this anime, but he keeps succeeding upward. And, it's just silly. But yeah, Luxion is this passive-aggressive. People say he looks like a Pokeball. People have said he looks like Ghost from Destiny, only round. People say he looks like Wheatley from Portal. But yeah, he's a ball, and he is the most powerful thing in the game universe, as far as we know, but you don't really know how powerful he is until you go further on throughout the story. And he's incredibly passive aggressive. Why, master, you are a heartless abomination. There's this great back and forth between myself and in the dub, Leon Bartford, the hero. The hero who doesn't want to be a hero is voiced by Jordan Dash Cruz, and we've got a really great chemistry because sometimes one of us would be recorded first, and we would be able to play off of the other actor's dub lines, and it just really worked. It's directed by Jonathan Rigg, who also is the director of Blue Lock, which is great. He's really good to work with. He's fun to work with. He lets us, he'll give us a chance to play with the lines in the sense that our delivery, how like if we think the character might do this or the character might do that, he'll let us do an extra take just to see how it fits in with the story, and if it works, it works. There's one part in Dating Sim where Luxion is about to just blow the crap out of another mech with rockets. The very cocky prince who deserves to get blown up. And so in the Japanese, Luxion kind of floats over through the cockpit, and it's silent, and there's just music playing in the background, and he does some calculation. But I thought, he's going to get so much enjoyment out of this. I asked Jonathan, can I do one more take? And so when he flies along, I add this. He's just humming to himself because he's so happy he gets to blow up a human. The human lives, but he gets to cause some destruction, some wanton destruction, and he's so happy about it. And it worked in the show. It was they announced a season 2 for it. Oh gosh.
Why not? Really? I didn't know that.
They announced a season 2, and we've been waiting for it for almost 2 years now. I don't know if it's been abandoned. I don't know if it's just on hold, or if it's taking a long time, or if it's been put on the back burner for another show. But it was kind of a surprise hit. Well, it would slowly but surely over the course of weeks, just the number of like positive ratings just kept climbing up and up and up in the the Crunchyroll interface, and it's like, where's our season 2? There's like 8 light novel chapters, and I mean the first series only goes through, I think, maybe just the one. It's there's so much to it that could just, there's a lot of story. So I love that show.
This is one of the series that I can't wait for season 2. Season 1 was full of everything, and it is a piece of gold. Many people underestimate it, and once you see the first episode, there's no way you're going to stop watching it because it's so great. And like you mentioned, I love Luxion because that passive aggressive, that hate for humanity, I love it. The fact that he's like, I'm not killing humans because you're my master, you ordered me to, but it was like, keep in mind, you give me the chance, I'm going for it. But the only thing holding me is you.
What I like about it, though, is that throughout the course of the series, Luxion, he starts to, he warms up to Leon and Olivia and Angelica. It's like he I don't know if he tolerates them or if he's become used to them, but there's still this very fun, like, best buds kind of making fun of each other banter between him and Leon. But I don't know. I think they start to appreciate each other in their own way. I love that show. And a lot of people, when they look at it, they're like, this show looks so stupid. And then when they see it, they're shocked at how much fun they're having with it. That's what a lot of the reviews would say. They'd say, this looked like the dumbest thing, and then somebody made me watch it, and oh my god, it's one of my favorite shows now. I love reading that because it's give it a chance, and I really think you'll like it.
Which it is, because when I started watching it, I had no clue what I was about to dive in. Now, like, this is piece of gold, and like it is. Like, I will watch it 2-3 times. That's good it is. Quick question, just Fanny mining here. So we have like this kind of, it's no harem, I mean kind of harem because we have a few girls candidates. Which one do you see Leon, probably you know already, ending up with? Because we have very good candidate here.
Between Olivia and Angelica?
Wild card, the queen. That's who I put my bet on.
He genuinely has feelings for both Angelica and Olivia. I think there's going to be some polyamory going on there. I think they're going to be a thruple is the word, right? That you see on the internet for 3 people in a relationship, a thruple. I think the 3 of them are going to be in the relationship.
I'm looking forward to it because even one of our guests who voiced the queen, who Maylin, who was Kelly Greenshield, really gave us some insight. I was like, whoa, where is my season 2? I need follow up on this story. But moving on to another story that have been on one of those Crunchyroll hit and anime industry, talking about Wistoria Wand and Swords, where you had the character Workner, Norgram. Confession, I haven't seen this one yet. How would you describe this series, like people like me who haven't seen it yet?
Okay, so it's from, I believe, the director of Black Clover. Only it's based on a series of light novels, which were turned into a manga, and it's another person who the hero does not have any magic ability in this world where almost everybody has magic. So he's in a world where everybody has magic powers except him. And he and his best friend were orphans. His best friend is super, super magic powered. And in this universe, there are the Magia Vander. Basically, they are holding up the sky from some sort of unknown force that can potentially destroy the world. Holding up the sky, it's like a sky shield, I guess, a magic sky protection. But yeah, the 5 of them basically protect the entire world. And they made a promise that he was going to rise, go up the tower, ascend the tower and be one of the Magia Vander as well. Except he has no magic ability. But we find out that in a world of magic people, he has warrior abilities unlike anything anybody's ever seen. He can kind of read enemies. He knows he can just he can fight things that are impervious to magic and stuff. You find out that everybody looks down on him because, he has no magical ability, but he's extraordinarily powerful when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. And people will say, well, that sounds just like Black Clover, but it's different. There's the characters, it is similar, but in story premise, but the characters are very different. Will Surford is very different than Asta. If you combine that with people say it seems kind of like Potter, which, I mean, it's got some similarities, but I don't know. I like this more because it's just action packed. It's cool. There's other students. There's like 4 there's different elements of magic. Okay, it's a good show. The animation is amazing. I joke around because everybody's hair is animated beautifully. Like a Japanese shampoo company needs to do a tie-in with them or something. But I play Workner Norgram. I'm one of the professors. He's like a magical beast kind of expert, and he sees potential in Will. He doesn't look down on Will like a lot of the other faculty may. But it's a fun show, and I like it because everybody in the cast, everybody who plays the students, the other faculty, even though it has some shonen anime, goofiness in some parts, a lot of the show is very grounded. It's very dramatic. It's, our performances are kind of like what you would hear in a live action film. We didn't go for that, for lack of a better term, the anime sound. I'm really proud of the work in that show, and I'm proud to be a part of that show because everybody there's a lot of raw emotion that happens in that show, and it comes through with the cast. The actors who play the kids specifically, they're all so talented. It's really good, and I'm proud to be in the cast with them.
Definitely, I need to. I promise I'm going to watch it very soon because I feel like there's a lot of our guests that are around this series, and they're like, okay, I need to dive in already. I don't know why we're waiting so long. But diving into drama and having the power in your hand, one of the characters that I think we can say is a legacy in the anime world, and it's still going on, talking about Fairy Tail, when you're the character of Mato, Otome and Fiora, the king of the land. Fiora is the name of the land, right?
It's been Fiore? So long. Otome Fiora. He's the king of the anime fans are gonna kill me for this. It's he's in the Grand Magic Games arc. He put on the games specifically to find the magicians that will help defend the entire kingdom, and of course he's in disguise. I'm spoiling this for people who don't know, who haven't seen it. There's this pumpkin-headed man who's kind of like
years.
Yeah. Okay. This pumpkin-headed man who's the host of the Grand Magic Games. It's like the Magic Olympics essentially. And speaking of the Olympics again, he's this little pumpkin man, and he's so goofy. And there's another extremely anime short character, and it turns out Toma is or Mato, the little pumpkin man, is secretly Toma the king in disguise, and they have completely different voices. And that was fun. I liked I liked Mato simply because I'm gonna take off one ear cup so I can hear my voice so I can do it properly. But it's the winner is Team Fairy Tail. Ooh, scratching there. Yeah, he's got this high pitched squeaky voice,
And Kitoa has this very deep, low voice.
and there's this one part in the show where I had to transition from the low voice to the high pitched squeaky voice, and I read ahead into the manga so I would figure out, but I practiced that. I had to kind of workshop that at home before we got to the episode where it's dubbed, and it worked perfectly. I'm so glad it did, because it's
Going from this.
this is not easy to do in like a few words, but it worked.
And I'm a big fan of this arc. The games which opened the door to the arc that Dragon Cry, which was one of the most big. I mean, Fairy Tail is a whole adventure. It's hard to say which was the top of the series because it was like a whole different adventure all direction. And even that, with all that said, right now, we haven't seen Fairy Tail. That was like 10 years ago almost. We're having right now the new season release, the 100-year quest with it is. I thought it was going to be like more of the same, and I mean everything new. And I'm so excited watching this legacy series expanding with new territory because it left a lot of doors to be opened with that original episode.
Yeah, when a show is that big and there's the world is large, like there's world lore. I mean, there's so many other stories that can be told in a world like the one in Fairy Tail. It's I mean, when something has been that developed over so many seasons, there's a lot of story to be told.
So now, leaving apart the anime, let's speak about Jim. How you met to the anime voice acting industry, especially?
Well, I got into anime. I used to write commercials. I used to work in advertising, and I wrote commercials for Hasbro toys from 2001 all the way up until I got laid off in 2013. So to give you an idea, I wrote every Transformers toy commercial from the end of Armada all the way up until movie 2. I also did a lot of like the robot posing and stuff like that in those commercials because a lot of times the art department didn't know how to actually transform the toys. So Zoids commercials in the early 2000s, I built every Zoid that you see in those commercials. So I worked on stuff like the Clue board game, iDog, G.I. Joe, some My Little Pony, not My Little Pony, Littlest Pet Shop, Mr. Potato Head. I mean, all over the place for Hasbro. But so in the early 2000s, there was a G.I. Joe commercial that was being made. And the producer, due to a budget error, the union actors that were in the commercial, it turns out they could not. We wouldn't be able to pay the usage fees. Again, just slight budget miscalculation, just completely overlooked. So they all got paid their session fees, but we ended up not using them. And so in this emergency recasting of all the roles in this G.I. Joe commercial, we walked into the booth at the studio and we read for everything. We didn't even slate our names. So Hasbro blindly cast me as 5 characters. They cast me as a British reporter, Duke, Destro, Cobra Commander, and Heavy Duty, which all in the same campaign. And when they found out it was me, they thought, oh. So they just started using me as VO and character voices in a lot of their commercials. I think I'm the only voice actor in an official capacity to be Duke, Cobra Commander, Optimus Prime, and Megatron. That and legal stuff like each sold separately, batteries not included, some assembly required. Actual change time may vary. Major pumping required. It's so over time, a different producer said, you could get paid for this if you did it on the side. So I put a reel together of a lot of my Hasbro spots, some other advertising scripts that I'd written for like Pizza Hut and stuff like that. And I got an agent, and when I sent in my reel, and the first anime I ever did was Case Closed. It was Smooth Sailing, the Murder on the Cruise Ship episode. His English name was Shannon. I was the gold-digging husband with the spiky blonde hair that got super killed. I was like the first death in that episode. And yeah, that was 2003. And here I am now.
I'm just here thinking, we grew up hearing you that all this time, and then look, here's the face behind the voice. Oh my god.
I have a lot of colleagues that are in the Beyblade cartoons, and I like going, I launched that product in the United States and North America. I wrote the first few waves of Beyblade cartoons before they came back with like the metal ones and that Fight Club ad campaign, because they wanted like Beyblade, it was like a hit, it was really big, and then it kind of died off, and then it was gone for about a year or two, and then it came back. And when it came back, it was a team in our New York office that took on Beyblade. Like, we traded, like they used to do Nerf and we did Beyblade, and then they just, new brand managers, they switched, they got Beyblade and I got Nerf.
I can't imagine. I cannot stop thinking how many times we hear your voice on Cartoon Network commercial, especially for the holidays. And now we're here like, whoa. Now, what? So, quick question. So, when you start as a marketing developer, production, what do you study? Or do you have to go to school for that? Or how you made it to that industry?
Basically writing. It was... specifically, my major was journalism, specializing advertising and public relations. And I was in the creative side. On TV, it's weird, like the old TV show Melrose Place, like one person was the account service person doing all the budgets, and they were writing the commercials, and they were doing the art, and it's like, it doesn't work that way. There's teams of people doing different stuff. I did a lot of the writing and concepting of spots. The art director partner that we work with also does like concepting. We work together, and the account service people, those are the ones that speak directly with the client, and they're the ones that the producers come up with the budgets and stuff, and they say, you want to film this in a canyon? I think we can do it for this many dollars. And you're thinking, okay, can we do that? Because in the creative department, we have a general idea of how things might cost, but I mean, we're like the right brain, working on the creative stuff. The left brain, those are like the budget people that tell us, what we can do. So it's I studied writing and worked at an ad agency, and you never know where you're going to end up. I originally went to school because I wanted to go into film, and I had people who basically ended up graduating ahead of me. They were like, yeah, it's really hard to get work, directing films or pictures or commercials and stuff like that. So I thought maybe I should change my major into something, I could get work in while trying to get into film. I just went into advertising, and I ended up sticking with that until did VO on the side from 2003 to 2013. Got laid off in 2013. Hasbro got a new chief marketing officer, and they're like, I'm going to my old advertising agency, and we all got kicked to the curb except for like 3/4 of the agency got laid off. And I was looking for work at another agency because you kind of panic. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I need health insurance because insulin is expensive, and in the meantime, I thought maybe I can try doing VO full time, and I went on my wife's health plan with her work, and I've been a full time voice actor for 11 years now.
And going from marketing commercials to idols, what are your character from what is the series talking about?
Oh,
Richard. If my favorite pop idol made it to the Budokan, I will die.
yes,
Were you the
yes.
Kumasa?
Okay, so this was for years. I was character guy, monster guy, and by golly, Donald Schultz is the director of that series. He cast me as my first main cast character. Essentially, it's a whole show. It's a story about idol otaku in Japan, and they're these fans of a small amateur idol group in Okayama City, in Okayama. And the main character, her name is Oripio, and she basically becomes madly infatuated in love with her favorite idol, Mina, who is technically the least popular idol in the group, and Kumasa is her bestie. His favorite idol is Reo, who she's kind of like the lead, and I love it because they have this completely platonic best friend relationship. There's no, he's not a creeper. He's very respectful, and he's very caring. There's one episode where Oripio is sick. She's got like the flu or a cold or something, and so she can't go to the idol event to meet Mina. So Kumasa, he waits in line to go see Mina, and he says, I want you to know, Oripio, she wasn't able to be here because she was sick. So please don't think less of her that she's not here. It's a fascinating look at idol fandom and idols themselves, and how idols have to live. They always have to, their lives kind of aren't their own. They can't have relationships because of the way, the fan community will see them. And so, Mina is infatuated with Oripio as well. And the two of them basically really, really like each other, but there's just this cultural wall of idols and fans don't mix, and it's a cute story. It's and I just Kumasa is a big dumpy nerd, and it's like that's not a far stretch for me to play. It's a very sweet show, and it did really, really well in Japan, and we were really hoping for a season 2. And then, word got out that they were working on another series. And then we found out, it was so popular in Japan, they did a live-action TV series and a movie. But they never went back to the cartoon, sadly enough. Maybe they will. Maybe someday.
Yeah, I'm going to give the hope, because many times we had this series that they get slowly popular, and years later, they bless us with this next season. We have a big list of those seasons waiting to be blessed. Hopefully we can get season 2. And moving on to one of the series that this one caught my attention so bad. Talking about Popuko on
Pop Team Epic? Popuko and Pipimi.
What is this?
So Pop Team Epic describe it in one word, it's bonkers. It is based on a 4-koma, the 4-panel comics that are really popular in Japan. And Popuko and Pipimi are two middle school girls. And so what the show is, it's divided into two 15-minute segments. So the first 15-minute segment, it's basically taking panels from the comic and just animating them. Sometimes they're expanded upon a little bit, but they do a really good job of taking those jokes and making little skits out of them. It's almost like sketch comedy. And then what happens is that after that's side A. So side B, the second half of the show, is identical to the first half, only with different voice actors. And sometimes the story will change. Sometimes it's tiny things that are kind of like you don't see them until they jump out at you, and sometimes they're wildly different, and sometimes they're identical just with the different voice actors. So there is a set pair of actors that are always Popuko and Pipimi inside A, and that's Chris Sabat and Ian Sinclair. Now, inside B, it's always another pair of actors. However, in season 2 of Pop Team Epic, there was Rising Hell, Hellshake Yano Rising Hell. There's a comedy troupe that does these. They illustrate all these panels, almost like manga panels, onto a flipboard. And the way that it's so hard to describe, but the two of them narrate the story. And so that was for side A. So for side B, all the characters in the story, there's something like 20 characters or so, were voiced by, the Japanese voice actor for Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, Yoichi Kamadera, I think is his name. So when they dubbed it, they wanted to do the same thing. They wanted to get an actor who could do a lot of character voices and literally do all the voices inside B. So the director, Chris George, he was actually asking Sabat, some advice, and he said, do you know somebody who could do that and make everybody sound different? And Sabat said, oh, you should get Foronda for that. And I was so touched to hear that story. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And so, when you see Rising Hell, the Hellshake Yano segment in season 2, inside B, every single voice is me. And that includes being both Popuko and Pipimi. That was over the course of 4 or 5 sessions, because it was everybody, including the sound effects.
And I'm here so in shock when I see my face reacting, because I decided to open the character of Popuko. And when I see the English cast, what? I'm in shock. All the voice actor, it is a big bunch of premier pro voice actor. Like there's no fresh face. They're all professional, highly voice actor. All of them. Like I can't name it here, and I'm just in shock. All the names I'm getting here.
Yeah, it's the fun part is that in every episode, it's Chris and Ian in the first half. In the second half, they bring in 2 completely different actors to voice Popuko and Pipimi. It's fun because it's almost like, think of it as a guest star on a TV show. I'm trying to think of like old, like those old TV shows like in the 70s and 80s, like the Love Boat. You'd have like the regular cast, and then they'd bring in, I don't know, Johnny Carson or something like that to be like a guest, a guest performer. And I was really happy to be brought in for season 2 for the Hellshake Yano.
Yeah, it's like all for one characters, like all character. We're all that character, and they're all pro voice actor, which I'm in shock. I need to check it out because it sounds like an experiment, successful experiment.
It was crazy. It's one fun thing about season 2 of. In order to help produce the show, they sold 30-second segments of time to the product placement, essentially. And so, in different episodes. And so, in the Hellshake Yano episode, there is a music store chain in Japan called Apollon. Exciting Sound Shop Apollon. And in the middle of the story, there's this they set a timer for 30 seconds, and they have Popuko and Pipimi do the ad for Exciting Sound Shop Apollon celebrating 50 years. And so I had to do we recorded the voices on top of each other. So it's you had Popuko, who's in this range. and Pipimi, who was down here. It was just silly. It was so much fun. Oh gosh, I loved that episode. That was one of my favorite things to work on. Now that I think about it, that one 15-minute segment took hours to do.
I'm checking this one for sure, but going to more simpler. I mean, this is not so simple, but the drama here is out of level 2. The next season is talking about Quintessential Quintuplets, drama all out, where you're the character of Isanari Uesugi.
Isanari Uesugi. He's Futaro's dad, and he's one of those guys. Let's see.
Isanari is in this range, if memory serves, and he's kind of a laid-back dad. He's got sunglasses on all the time. Not on, but they're always like right sitting on the top of his head. Even at nighttime, it's just that's. I think they're permanently affixed his scalp. I'm not sure, but he's it's like Futaro's seems to have a bit more maturity than his own father. But in the movie, you find out that his dad's as goofy as he may seem sometimes. He looks out for the family. He looks out for the family, and he knows that Futaro cares about the quintuplets, and it's he's not in it that much, but when he is, it's always some fun stuff.
And he was one of those characters that, like I mentioned, wasn't that much during season 1 and season 2. But for those who haven't seen Quintessential Quintuplets, we had season 1, season 2, and suddenly we got the surprise that we will not have season 3. We will have a movie, which it really makes sense because I'm one of those persons who read the manga, and knowing where we were already from the season 2 and what was the remaining season 3, for me it was a very smart move to wrap it up with a movie which is available. And dropping something else, we got the announcement that there's a next season. We don't know how we're going to call this one because we got the wedding, and after that movie ending, we were like, wait, someone spoiler here. We were like, is this really happened or it was a dream? And for our surprise, the next season is called the After Wedding or the honeymoon season, something like this. So when I read about it, I'm like, perfect. I know already that it was not a dream. We know that it was real. That was I couldn't sleep nights thinking about this.
When was this announced? Because it's the first I've heard of it.
So going back to recording, I'm going to drop a disclaimer here. Now we're not 100% sure about this season that I mentioned because it's supposed to be for October 2024. But we're going to follow up later on the comments. If anybody knows if I screw up, I said something wrong, feel free to comment that, hey, Onik, I don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. Go take some sleep. You need to sleep. But I think so that there's a movie coming on. But going back to your character, I really enjoyed the intervention that he had during the movie. Like, it was right on place, important for that finale.
Yeah, it was nice because it's like, oh, he's like standing up. Yeah, that was just it's like Isanari's so laid back in the entire show, and got a badass over here. Yeah, it was fun.
Also, I really enjoyed the balance between Isanari and the girls that who are adopted, because he's so cold, and suddenly he was like that. The moment that we needed to balance the scenario. And to wrap it up, going a little bit anime, those who don't know, anime and video game, they have a very big relationship. So talking about one of the later video games, talking about Gundam Breakers 4, where you have the character of Mr. Gunpla.
Yes, Gundam Breaker. So Gundam Breaker was a really popular series in Japan, and essentially it's a game where, because Gunpla, the actual Gundam model kits, it's essentially a game where you build these model kits and you fight them. It takes place in this fictional universe where you build your model and then you scan it in, and then you can actually fight against other people's models. So of course, it's all in video game and stuff. So it's almost like not like Borderlands, like a loot shooter where you smash enemies or you kill enemies and then they drop weapons. So in Gundam Breaker, you smash the other models and they drop parts, a weapon, a head, a pair of legs, a right arm, a left arm, and so you can customize your own Gundam model, your own robot with all of these parts, and they all have different abilities and stuff, and a lot of them are made to be accurate to how they are in the show. So in the Gundam Breaker universe, the first Gunpla battle champion was Mr. Gunpla, and he's this very showy. He has like one of those like a 1970s like perm afro like Mr. Brady that were really popular in the 70s, and he wears like these disco type outfits and like platform shoes and bell-bottom pants. And in Gundam Breaker 4, he's wearing heart-shaped glasses. He's kind of the announcer for the Gunpla battles. Anyway, so Gundam Breaker 3, it was really popular in Japan. There was only one country that produced an English subtitled version of it, and so people started importing that to the United States. It became like one of the most imported games, to where they just they kept producing copies of it because people kept buying it here and in the West, and basically countries that didn't get the game, they were importing it. So they finally decided to bring Gundam Breaker 4 to the West with a dub. And I had played the hell out of Gundam Breaker 3. I discovered the Break Edition, which is like, the complete edition of a game where they include all the DLC and everything. My wife and I were on a trip to Japan, and I was in a Yodobashi camera, and they had it on display, and I thought, oh my god, this game looks so cool. You can actually build your own robot, your own like mobile suit and fight with it. And I almost said robot. I found out that's an important thing. You don't say robot, you say mobile suit. Random. I should know that. I came from toys. I should know to not say, mobile suit. And so I looked, and that's when I found out the Japanese version did not have English subtitles. But I saw where I imported it when I was in Japan. And so it was waiting for me when we got home. And yeah, I played the heck out of it. And so I remember getting the audition sides for Gundam Breaker 4. And I was reading this is me. That was my face probably when I was reading the email. And, I read for it and I thought, you know what? Even if I don't get any roles in this game, I'm still going to be happy because Gundam Breaker 4 is coming out to the United States. And I was just bowled over when I was cast as Mr. Gunpla. And I love the character. And it's really nice to be part of something that you were already looking forward to, a part of something that you already love. And so I'm very happy with Mr. Gunpla and Gundam Breaker 4. If you have a favorite Gundam from a show, there is like a 99.9% chance that it is available in the game. There's they don't have everything from the Witch from Mercury in there, but they've got the Ariel, they got the Derabalde, and they've got they just released the Calibarn as a free download with the last update. So it's like there's like over 250 kits in it that you can just mix and match. It's fun. It helps if you really like customizing and you like the idea of basically having a bottomless model kit drawer where you can just make whatever you want. But if you really like Gundam, I think you might like that game.
Which platform? It's only PS5?
It's on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch. Oh, and PC.
Okay, so guys, check it out. I'm going to check it out later because I'm looking here in the page and I'm like, this sounds interesting. So
it's fun.
Jim,
it's fun.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really have a lot of fun tonight. We went through a lot today. For those who any words of advice for those who are considering the voice acting career or just the fans?
If you want to go into voice acting, and I always tell people this, that sometimes they'll say, what is voice acting like? I say voice acting is an endless stream of failure punctuated by the occasional success, because you will fail a lot. I auditioned. I've got a whole bunch of auditions out that I have not heard back on, and just this week alone, you are not going to land everything. You're not going to land things that you really want to do, but you have to stick with it. It can be very, very demoralizing when there'll be long stretches where you're not getting work and you're thinking, God, everybody must hate me. I should stop doing this. Maybe I need to, think about, my career. But it's something that you're going to be dealing with that no matter where you are in your career. There's going to be points in time where you're thinking, should I be doing this? It's tough. It's tough. But the first thing is acting. Whether you're doing community theater, if you're in school, doing school plays and stuff like that, if you've got friends who do, YouTube stuff, acting in skits and things like that, I would dare say even if you play tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, if you play as your character, if you speak in their voice when you're playing, and you find yourself kind of inhabiting them as a character when you're playing, that is also acting in a way. I've had a lot of colleagues basically, because my start was really strange. It was weird going from advertising into voice acting. But I've had colleagues who started on Casting Call Club. They started an account there, and they would audition for indie games and student projects and independent animation, and they would land something, and then they'd start building a reel of produced work. And I mean, I know people who moved out to Los Angeles now, who got their start in Casting Call Club, recording for Nintendo, like Nintendo games, started on Casting Call Club, recording with their laptop mic. It's with the advent of technology, it is easier to get into voice acting than ever before. But because it is easier, because there are so many people doing it now, it is also harder to get into voice acting because there's so much talent out there now that it's hard to land something because so many people are trying out for it. It is tough. But if you really, really want to do it, you have to stick with it and have a backup plan to be doing at the same time. I mean, I for the first 10 years of my voice acting career, I was working 60 to 70 hours a week in advertising, sometimes recording auditions in a hotel room, in Rhode Island, while waiting to go see Hasbro the next day because, I had to work. And because we were working long hours, my boss is kind enough to go, hey, I'm going to take a long lunch and record this anime thing and come back and work until, 9:30 p.m. at night like I always do. It was long hours, but at least I had enough of a voice acting reel and career to jump off of when I got laid off in 2013. I think that's one of the only reasons why I was able to go full time, because I had that previous experience, because it's hard. It's hard to get enough gigs to basically to support yourself with. It's a challenge, but if you want to do it, you got to stick with it.
Awesome. Thank you, Gene. For those who haven't followed you yet, which social media can people follow you?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter or X. I hate saying X. I like Twitter. I like birds. I Jim Foronda. Also, I'm on Blue Sky as Jim Foronda as well. There's some privacy changes happening on Twitter X right now that a lot of creators are apprehensive about. If you have a Twitter account, by using this account, you give us full right to train all of everything you post, your pictures, your audio, for AI. And it looks like there's no way to opt out of that. So a lot of people, it just happened this morning. And so many people are basically starting accounts over on Blue Sky. So I'm on Blue Sky as Jim Foronda, JimForonda. I also have an Instagram account that I barely update, simply because I don't know how folks do it. I can only basically keep up with one social media platform because it's just, there's a lot of copying and pasting, and it's just like, oh God. So I would say Twitter and Blue Sky.
Definitely. And if you guys have any hard time finding Jim, links can go down to the description of this video, expand the description, and right over there you'll find the link to Jim's social media. Just go and click over there. And because we already made it over there, we humbly beg you for your how we call it limonero, the guy who I beg for your contribution. We beg for your contribution for you. Subscribe to YouTube. We're fighting day to day with the algorithms on YouTube, which are never ending battle because that algorithm change more than the weather in you name it. So today in one way, the next day is behaving so different. So the only force that can battle the algorithm is the subscribe. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, X, and Blue Sky. Since last night, thanks to Trisha Melon, that she's playing me what was Blue Sky. Thought like somebody like copy pasting, like creating fake accounts, and then she's playing me on DM. Hey Onyx, that's the new app. I'm like, oh, great! So one more social media to manage. So Jim, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I like talking to folks. I could have gone through every show if you wanted me to, but that would have gone on for hours.
Oh, that would be like a 10 episode because the resume is huge. But appreciate it. Probably someday we can follow up with the newest show because there's so much coming soon. So anyway, thank you so much.
Come back, yeah.
Definitely. We'll see you in the next episode. Sayonara.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
See you, everybody. Thanks for watching.